Welcome back to Stock Talk. Today, we're jumping straight into Mohnish Pabrai's Q1 2025 portfolio. We've got the latest 13F, filed May 14th. And the big headline seems to be a pretty significant strategic pivot happening in the energy sector. We really need to unpack this one. And hey, if you find this kind of detailed breakdown useful, please do think about subscribing, maybe share it, give us a like. It helps us keep these deep dives coming.
Yeah, absolutely. This filing, it's quite revealing. Gives us a good look at how a top value investor like Pabrai is navigating things right now. We're looking at what? 4 holdings, super concentrated.
4 holdings, yeah, total value just shy of $235 million.
Right.
Okay, so let's dive in. Top holding, Warrior Met Coal. Ticker's HCC. Wow, that's 36.57% of the whole portfolio?
Yeah, it's a big slice.
Almost 1.8 million shares. We're talking nearly $86 million there. An interesting bit here he actually added to it. Increased the position by over 5% last quarter. So what's the thinking? Why double down,
Well, it clearly shows strong conviction. And specifically in metallurgical coal, right? Met coal is, essential for making steel. It's not like thermal coal. Warrior Met Coal has these high-quality assets. So adding to it, Pabrai probably sees lasting demand, maybe tight supply. Looks like a bet on the specific quality and necessity of this type of coal.
Okay, that makes sense. Then number 2, Valaris Ltd, ticker VAL. This one's completely new.
Brand new.
Jumps right in at almost 24% of the portfolio, over $56 million. And Valaris, they're in offshore drilling. That feels like a big shift.
It is a big shift, a major pivot, really.
So why offshore drilling now? What's the opportunity you might be seeing?
Well, the offshore space has seen years of underinvestment. That's one factor. Plus, if you think energy prices might stay elevated or even rise, maybe he's anticipating more offshore exploration and activity picking up. And Valaris is one of the biggest players globally, so they'd be well-positioned if that happens.
Like a cyclical recovery play.
Could be. Definitely signals he sees potential there, maybe something undervalued.
Interesting. Okay, third position. Alpha Metallurgical Resources, AMR. Still a hefty chunk, 22.11%, around $52 million market value. But this one, he trimmed, reduced it by almost 15% in Q1.
Yeah, that's the counterpoint to Warrior Met, isn't it?
So why scale back on AMR while boosting HCC? Both are met coal producers, right?
They are, yeah. It's a really interesting question. It's still a very significant holding, let's be clear. But the reduction, well, it suggests maybe some capital reallocation.
To fund the new positions, perhaps.
That's not the most likely reason, yeah. Funding Valaris and, as we'll see, Noble Corp. Or it could also mean he's getting a bit more selective within met coal, maybe prefers Warrior-specific assets or, their balance sheet, market position, something specific.
So differentiating between the two.
Seems like it. He's clearly favoring Warrior Met right now.
Got it. And that brings us to number 4. Noble Corp PSE, ticker N, another new one.
Yep, another offshore driller.
This one's 17.45% of the portfolio, value around $41 million. So wait, if you add Noble and Valaris together,
Yeah, do the math.
that's over 41% of the entire portfolio now in offshore drilling, from zero before.
Exactly. It's not just dipping a toe in. It's a major strategic move.
Why the double down? 2 big offshore players at once.
Well, adding both really hammers home the conviction in that sector, doesn't it? These companies are crucial for, getting oil and gas out from under the sea. Maybe he sees the whole sector as undervalued after the downturns it's had, or he just strongly believes activity is going to ramp up significantly due to global energy demand. It's a very clear signal.
Okay, so a definite pivot towards offshore. But looking back at the list, he hasn't abandoned coal entirely. Not by a long shot.
No, definitely not.
Warrior Met and Alpha Met combined, that's still nearly 59% of the portfolio.
Right, so the focus remains very much on energy, but it's shifting within energy.
And that continued big bet on met coal, especially bumping up Warrior. It feels specific.
It does. It suggests, like we said, a belief in that specific commodity. Metallurgical coal. Remember, unlike thermal coal used for power, met coal is vital for steel. Fewer easy substitutes. That might give it a more stable, predictable demand profile that he finds attractive from a value perspective.
Okay. And one more thing to note, Consul Energy CEIX, it's gone.
Completely gone, yeah. That was a sizable position before, wasn't it? Around 25%.
Yeah, roughly. So how does exiting Consul fit this new picture?
Well, Consul has more exposure to thermal coal, right? So
okay.
exiting CEIX seems to perfectly align with the shift we're seeing. It frees up that capital.
Which likely went straight into Valaris and Noble.
Almost certainly. It reinforces that tighter focus on metallurgical coal, specifically alongside this big new bet on offshore drilling
So
services.
even though it's only 4 stocks, which is classic Pabrai concentration, there's actually a bit of diversification within the energy theme.
That's a good way to put it.
You've got the raw material side with met coal, and then the essential services side with offshore drilling.
Exactly. It's concentrated, yes, but across different parts of the energy value chain. It suggests a broader thesis maybe on energy and industrial commodities overall, finding pockets he thinks are mispriced.
So if we try to sum up the strategy here, it looks like Pabrai's betting on a recovery in offshore drilling, seeing undervalued assets there, while also maintaining, even strengthening, his conviction in high-quality met coal.
Yeah, I think that captures it well.
It's a really opportunistic move, redeploying capital into these specific segments he sees value in.
Absolutely. It shows how dynamic even a concentrated value strategist can be. He's not afraid to make big shifts. These moves in offshore and met coal give us a fascinating glimpse into his current read on the energy markets.
Definitely does. And it leaves you thinking, doesn't it? Like, what broader signals might be pointing towards this offshore recovery he seems to anticipate?
Good question.
And what are the sort of longer-term ripples? For the energy market, if this concentrated focus proves right, lots to mull over there. Really insightful stuff today. Thanks for breaking it down.